The day he walked out on us, I begged him not to go, not for me, but for our son. But he didn't even look back. He said, "I didn't sign up for this kind of life." Years later, when life finally smiled at me again, he came crawling back. But this time, I had the power to choose. And what I did next, even I didn't see it coming. I used to believe in fairy tales. I really did. When I first met Jared, he was charming, funny, and he made me feel like the most beautiful woman in the world, even when I had grease on my face from working late shifts at the diner. He'd show up with flowers, take me dancing, whisper promises about a perfect life we'd build together. We got married fast. Within a year, I was pregnant. I remember how happy we were when we saw the ultrasound. He said, "We're going to be the best parents ever." But then our son was born, and nothing was ever the same again. Liam didn't cry like other babies. He was quiet, too quiet. He didn't respond to sound, didn't make eye contact. At first, the doctors told us not to worry, but by the time he was 2, we knew something was wrong. He was eventually diagnosed with cerebral palsy. Jared sat in silence while the doctor spoke. When we got home, he turned to me and said, "This isn't what I wanted." It was like watching someone switch off a light. The man I married began to fade, slowly, then completely. He started coming home late, complained constantly, didn't want to carry Liam, said the crying made him anxious. Then one evening he just stood at the door with a suitcase and said, "I can't do this. I didn't sign up to be the father of a disabled child." He left, just like that. I cried for 3 days straight. Not because I missed Jared, but because I didn't know how I would manage. I had no job, no savings, and a child who needed 24-hour care. Some friends left. Some stayed away because they didn't know what to say. My own parents blamed me, saying I should have been more understanding of Jared. I cleaned houses, sold old clothes, and ate 1 meal a day so Liam could have 3. There were nights I stared at the ceiling and whispered to God, "If you're still there, please send help." One day, while I was carrying Liam up the steps to our apartment, a man offered to help. He looked like he had just come from a job site, dusty boots, tired eyes, kind smile. He didn't ask many questions. He just lifted Liam and walked us to our door. Then he said, "You look like you could use a friend." His name was Marcus. He started showing up every week, bringing groceries, helping with Liam's therapy sessions, fixing leaky pipes. At first I was suspicious, then grateful, then confused by how safe I felt around him. Liam took his first assisted steps in our living room while Marcus was there. I cried. Marcus cried too. We laughed like kids. He never treated Liam like a burden. He saw him as a child with potential. After a year of friendship, Marcus asked me on a date. I said no. Then 2 months later I said yes. We never rushed anything. He never tried to replace Jared. He just stood beside us, quietly filling in the gaps that someone else left behind. Then, out of nowhere, Jared showed up. 6 years after he walked out, he looked different, thinner, lost, tired. He said, "I've changed. I want to be a father again. I want us to be a family." I stared at him, shocked. Where was he when I couldn't afford diapers? When Liam had seizures? When I begged God for help? Marcus stood beside me, quiet as always. I looked Jared in the eye and said, "You don't get to come back just because life got easier. Liam isn't a season. He's my son. He's my whole world." Then I turned to Marcus and smiled. This man didn't walk in when things got good. He walked in when everything was falling apart and stayed. People think strength is about lifting heavy things. But sometimes, strength is choosing to stay when it would be easier to run. I wasn't the same woman Jared left behind. I was stronger, wiser, and deeply loved by a man who saw beauty in broken places. And Liam? He calls Marcus Dad.